Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we'll provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India rebukes Pakistan at UNSC, calls out repression in POJK. POJK activists rally in Bradford against Pakistan's crackdown. And deadly flash floods devastate northeastern Afghanistan, scores fear dead. India has once again delivered a strong rebuttal to Pakistan at the United Nations Security Council. During a debate on strengthening peaceful dispute resolution, New Delhi accused Islamabad of using the Kashmir issue to divert attention from its own domestic failures, while highlighting what it described as decades of repression in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. India also urged the international community to distinguish between genuine disputes and cases of aggression and illegal occupation. A report.
At the United Nations Security Council, India firmly countered Pakistan's latest attempt to raise Jammu and Kashmir, shifting the focus instead to what New Delhi described as the deteriorating human rights and democratic situation inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Addressing the UNSC open debate on strengthening mechanisms for the peaceful settlement of disputes, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Harish Parvathaneni, accused Pakistan of repeatedly misusing international platforms to pursue what he called a divisive political agenda. The debate itself focused on preventive diplomacy and peaceful conflict resolution under the UN Charter.
The Security Council has yet again witnessed a brazen attempt by Pakistan today to misuse this august platform for its divisive agenda. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir has always been, is, and will remain an integral and inalienable part of India. This is the constitutional and legal reality that Pakistan deliberately chooses to ignore. The only outstanding issue with regard to Jammu and Kashmir is the naked aggression and illegal occupation of India's sovereign territory by Pakistan.
Reiterating India's long-standing position, Ambassador Parvathaneni said Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India and asserted that Pakistan's continued occupation of territories under its control remains the only unresolved issue. But India's intervention went beyond territorial claims. It sought to turn international attention towards conditions inside Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where New Delhi alleged that political dissent, civil liberties and fundamental freedoms have been systematically curtailed for decades.
The ongoing developments in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir fully expose the true nature of the Pakistani state. The world is witness to the continued suppression of basic rights, freedom of expression and association, and stifling of fundamental freedoms of Kashmiris in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. These are not isolated instances, but part of a larger design by the Pakistani establishment in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir for close to 8 decades. This pattern extends to other regions of Pakistan that also face repression.
India's remarks come at a time when Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has witnessed repeated public protests in recent months over governance, economic grievances, and demands for greater political rights. Separately, rights groups and political activists have continued to raise concerns over restrictions on civil liberties in different parts of Pakistan, including Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. New Delhi argued that these developments expose a broader governance crisis that Pakistan continues to overlook while attempting to internationalize the Kashmir issue. The Indian envoy also criticized Pakistan's domestic political trajectory, pointing to what he described as the weakening of democratic institutions. He referred to the imprisonment of opposition leaders, restrictions on the country's principal opposition party, and constitutional changes that, according to India, have further strengthened the military's influence over civilian governance.
Incarceration of leaders, including a former prime minister, electoral outlawing of the main opposition party, a constitutional coup by the military through the 27th Amendment, and other such actions have decimated any semblance of democracy. Pakistan would do well to look inward and address the real issues in the country rather than resorting to fabricated narrative construction with religious imagery aimed at scoring domestic brownie points and misleading the wider UN membership.
India also questioned why such developments often receive limited attention at multilateral forums despite attracting criticism in comparable situations elsewhere. Beyond its sharp response to Pakistan, New Delhi used the debate to underline broader principles governing international peace and security. India urged the Security Council to clearly distinguish between genuine disputes and cases involving aggression or illegal occupation, arguing that both cannot be treated as equivalent under the UN Charter. As Pakistan once again sought to internationalize Jammu and Kashmir at the Security Council, India responded by reframing the debate, placing the spotlight on governance, democratic accountability, and the human rights situation inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
As Pakistan faces growing unrest in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the movement is now finding a louder voice overseas. For days, members of the Kashmiri Diaspora have been protesting outside the Pakistani Consulate in Bradford in the United Kingdom, accusing Islamabad of using force instead of dialogue to suppress a grassroots movement demanding basic political and civil rights. The demonstrations come amid an intensified crackdown on the Joint Awami Action Committee, which Pakistan has banned under anti-terror laws. Is a report.
The streets outside the Pakistani Consulate in Bradford once again echoed with slogans against Islamabad as members of the Kashmiri Diaspora staged another demonstration condemning Pakistan's action in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The protesters accused Pakistani authorities of responding to peaceful demonstrations with force, alleging killings, enforced disappearances, raids on homes, and violence against civilians. The latest protest comes as tensions continue to simmer across POJK ahead of the region's elections later this month, with activists claiming that instead of addressing public grievances, Pakistan has intensified its security crackdown.
जब हम ये कहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान के हुक्मरान जालिम है, तो हमें कहा जाता है कि पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ बात न करें। और मैं उन लोगों से पूछना चाहता हूँ, वो क्या नवाज शरीफ, शहबाज, जरदारी है पाकिस्तान है? और ये पाकिस्तान के हुक्मरान है, और ये जालिम है। जब जालिमों के खिलाफ बात की जाए तो उस मुल्क का नाम आता है, उस मुल्क का नाम लेना चाहिए जिस मुल्क की फोर्सेस हमारे पुरअमन मुजाहिरीन को शहीद कर रही है। वो मुल्क जालिम है, उसके हुक्मरान जालिम है, उसके खिलाफ जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को हक हासिल है कि वो अपनी पुरअमन जदोजहद जारी रखें। इतना जुल्म होने के बावजूद हम अपने लोगों को अमन का दर्ज देते हैं।
The Bradford protest is part of a wider international campaign that has accompanied the prolonged agitation inside Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. At the center of the movement is the Joint Awami Action Committee, which has accused Islamabad of reneging on earlier commitments while using sweeping security measures to silence dissent. Protesters have demanded the withdrawal of Pakistani forces, the release of detained activists, restoration of communication services, and implementation of long-pending public commitments. Thousands have participated in demonstrations across Muzaffarabad, Rawalakot, and other parts of the occupied region despite heavy deployment of security personnel.
हमारी आवाम को बुनियादी हुकूक, जो बेसिक जरूरियात की चीजें वो मांगने पे पाकिस्तान से कातिल फौज को हमारे ऊपर बुलाकर हमारी लोगों को शहीद किया गया, चादर और चारदीवारी का कब्जा इस्तेमाल किया गया। ये है वो आपका बड़ा भाई हमजीर जिन्होंने हमारे साथ हमारे रावलकोट, कोटलिया, मुजफ्फराबाद की गलियां खून से लहूलुहान की। हम ना तो कल उनको अपना बड़ा भाई मानते थे, ना आज इनका अपना बड़ा भाई और अपना सफीर मानते हैं।
The political confrontation escalated sharply after Pakistani authorities designated the Joint Awami Action Committee as a proscribed organization under anti-terror legislation, a move that triggered widespread criticism. International rights groups including Amnesty International have argued that branding a grassroots protest movement as a terrorist organization raises serious concerns over freedom of expression, peaceful assembly and association. Amnesty has also criticized reports of internet shutdowns, mass arrest and the use of force against demonstrators, urging Pakistan to lift restrictions and allow peaceful protest ahead of the regional elections. Even as authorities in Pakistan maintain that the measures are necessary to preserve law and order, demonstrations inside Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir continue alongside solidarity protests abroad. With the political crisis spilling beyond the region's borders, the continuing mobilization of the Kashmiri diaspora is adding international attention to allegations of repression in POJK, placing renewed scrutiny on Islamabad's handling of one of its most significant internal challenges in recent years.
Islamabad's governance in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan is once again under scrutiny, as residents accuse the federal administration of neglecting the region's tourism potential and basic infrastructure. Locals allege that poor roads, administrative restrictions and lack of development have hampered economic growth, while raising broader concerns over political rights and the region's administrative future. Our report has more.
Pakistan's continued illegal occupation of Gilgit-Baltistan has long been accompanied by allegations of administrative neglect, inadequate development and political disenfranchisement. Residents of Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan have accused the Islamabad administration of failing to develop the region's tourism sector. They allege that the administrative failures have prevented the region from realizing its tourism potential, while also raising concerns over security measures and alleged attempts to alter the region's administrative control.
यहाँ पे हमारे एरिया में कॉमन खुसूसन बड़ा यहाँ पे एक हमारा एरिया जाता है पूरा जाके हमारा पुरुमर वैली। यहाँ पे सबसे मुसीबत हमारे लिए ये है जो टूरिस्ट आते हैं इनमें चौकी में वहाँ पे जीबी स्कोर बैठी है वो आगे जाने नहीं देती, शनाख्त उठाते हैं तो कोई क्यों आएगा। पुरुमर एरिया कहाँ का है आपको पता है, गजर का है। उस तरफ से केपीके वाला है कि वहाँ पर उन्होंने कब्जा जिस तरह शनूर पे किया इधर भी कब्जा करना चाहते हैं।
Residents say damaged roads and inadequate maintenance have left several tourist destinations neglected, affecting both visitor numbers and the local economy.
आपको पता है कि ज़िला गदर जो है वो सियाहत के एतबार से अपनी मिसाल आप है। यहाँ की 3 वैलीज हैं, यासीन, खंडर, गुपिस और फिर जहाँ हम बैठे हैं ये इश्कोमन वैली है। और मैं स्पेसिफिक अगर बात करूँ तहसील इश्कोमन वैली की तो ये अब तक जो टूरिस्ट हैं उनके लिए हिडन वैली है। यहाँ पर ऐसा काम नहीं हुआ टूरिज़म डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से या फिर किसी इदारे की तरफ से कि यहाँ पर टूरिस्ट जो है टूरिज़म वो बूस्ट अप हो। इसकी बुनियादी वजह यह है कि एक तो इस वैली की जो सड़क है गाकुच से जब आप इंटर होते हैं यहाँ चट्रोखंड तक तहसील हेडक्वार्टर है, इस सड़क की जो हालत है वो इंतहाई गंभीर है। आपने देखा जहाँ जहाँ फ्लड आए हैं इस रोड के ऊपर वो जो मलबा है फ्लड का मलबा वो भी पूरी तरीके से हटाया नहीं गया। रोड की रीमेटलिंग की ज़रूरत है और यहाँ टूरिस्ट जब आते हैं तो एक बार आते हैं तो फिर दोबारा उनको तकलीफ होती है यहाँ दोबारा आने में।
Despite the region's abundant natural resources, successive administrations in Islamabad have failed to invest in essential infrastructure, healthcare, education, and sustainable economic opportunities in POGB. Concerns have also been expressed over restrictions on political rights, limited local representation in decision making, and policies that residents claim undermine the region's demographic and administrative identity. Activists have frequently accused the Pakistani authorities of ignoring local aspirations while prioritizing strategic and security interests over public welfare.
Flash floods have wreaked havoc in northeastern Afghanistan, leaving a trail of destruction in the mountainous province of Nuristan. Torrential rains triggered sudden flooding that swept away homes, hotels and infrastructure, killing at least 20 people while more than 100 remain missing. Authorities fear the death toll could rise significantly as rescue efforts continue in difficult terrain. The disaster once again highlights Afghanistan's growing vulnerability to extreme weather events worsened by climate change, deforestation and fragile infrastructure. A report.
Afghanistan remains one of the world's most disaster-prone countries, facing frequent floods, landslides and extreme weather events that continue to claim lives and damage communities. The latest tragedy unfolded in the northeastern province of Nuristan, where torrential rains triggered a devastating flash flood. The flood struck Parun, the provincial capital, causing widespread destruction. According to the Taliban's National Disaster Management Authority, at least 20 people have been confirmed dead, around 80 were injured, and more than 100 remain missing. Authorities feared the death toll could rise as search and rescue operations continue in the affected areas. The powerful floodwaters swept away homes, hotels, roads and other infrastructure, leaving hundreds of families stranded. The rugged mountainous terrain of Nuristan has further complicated rescue efforts, with emergency teams racing against time to locate survivors.
دا چې 13 ورځ په دغه پارون ښار باندې دغه یو سیلاب راغی او دغه سیلاب له امله تقریبا تر 9 پورې هوټلونه او همدغه شانه نور ډېر زیات زیان یې اړولی چې تاسې خپله ګورئ د دغې زیان له امله تقریبا تر 100 زیات هیوادوال چې دي هغه تلف شوي دي.
The disaster unfolded within minutes, giving residents little time to react as streets were inundated and people rushed to escape. Several commercial establishments suffered extensive damage, while the rescue teams and local volunteers have been working tirelessly to search for survivors and assist those stranded by the floods.
تقریبا 3 بجې په 2:30 بجې وي او دا شان څه سیلاب راغلی او سیلاب داسې موږ په دوکان کې ناست وو خو دا وطن ټول یو ځل نه خوځېده نن باره په زلزله ده زلزله نه وه ناڅاپه بس دا شان سیلاب راورسېد او مخلوق یې بس خلک خندان کړه او خلک بس هر سړي ځان خلاصوو.
The country has witnessed repeated climate-related disasters in recent years. In 2024, spring flash floods claimed more than 300 lives, while earlier this year, widespread flooding and landslides killed at least 110 people across several provinces. Years of conflict, weak infrastructure, economic hardship, and the widespread use of mud-built homes have further increased the vulnerability of communities, particularly in remote, mountainous regions where access for rescue and relief remains difficult.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, to keep writing to us at nwsa@nin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.